Who's ready for some reacting? Because today I'm starting a new series called Spooky Friday. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm gonna react to scary animations. Now, if you guys want to, you could put down in the comments what I should react to, and I'll pick one lucky winner. But it has to be like 10 minutes or 9 or over the. Yeah, let's just start.
I used to work at one company for about a year before I entered the company I'm working at currently. I was living alone with my wife. Although we both like kids, we weren't ready yet. Anyway, it was one night and I was heading home being drunk as usual after finishing a get-together. Passing through the front door of the apartment, I pressed the button to get on the elevator, and the elevator that was stopped on the third basement level began to climb slowly. Finally, the elevator arrived on the first floor, and I felt cold as soon as I walked inside. It was almost 12 o'clock, and my body was getting hot by the effects of alcohol, but I could definitely feel chilly inside the elevator. Well, I guess it's because the elevator stayed deep underground for a while, I thought, and then pressed the 16th floor button where I lived.
Film.
The elevator started moving slowly.
Horror animations.
However, it suddenly stopped on the 5th floor. Normally, the people in my apartment didn't take the elevator very often at the time, so I was standing in the middle of the elevator. As soon as the door opened, I stepped aside. But no one was standing there. I thought someone who was impatient must have pressed the button and then just went up to the emergency exit stairs. So I pressed the close button and the elevator stopped again on the 6th floor. And there's no one there either. When the elevator stopped on the 7th floor, I suddenly got angry. Hey, stop! I stuck my head out the door and shouted,
it's gonna go to the 9?
but I didn't feel any human presence upstairs.
From the 8th. From
A
the
sudden
8th
shudder passed over me, but still I thought it was someone's prank. The elevator then stopped again on the 8th floor while going up. But this time, there was a little girl standing in front of the door. She seemed like she was about 6 or 7 years old, but you know what was a strange thing about her?
The hell? Why is she
Despite
white?
the late hours, there was no one around her. Like parents, someone like that. But this kid just stood there still without getting on. Hey kid, are you gonna get in? I asked, but she didn't answer. As soon as I felt chill somewhere, I soon pressed the close button of the elevator. Just as the door was closing halfway through, she pressed the open button again.
What the fuck?
The short kid standing on tiptoes opened the elevator door, so I told her again to get inside. However, she still stood there without answering. Just at that time, I thought this was the one who'd been playing pranks on me. So I pointed my finger at the CCTV and yelled at her not to prank anymore. Then the girl staring at me slowly opened her mouth. I'll get in when my mom comes, she answered in a small voice. But I couldn't see any shadow of people no matter how much I looked around. But somehow her voice seemed really dark and creepy. It wasn't a childlike voice at all. I pressed the close button again roughly, and fortunately the kid didn't press the open button this time. The elevator started going up again and didn't stop on the next floor. With a sigh of relief, I just wanted to get off and get home as soon as possible. It was at that very moment. I was on the 11th floor and the light suddenly started blinking.
What the fuck?
I was staring at the light with a nervous mind, and something was strange with it. There was some spot on the light that was stained, as if someone had dropped black ink. And to my surprise, it was getting bigger and bigger every time the light went on and off.
I really need to get a new chair because this chair is very old. I've had this chair for about years now.
It can't be. I'm imagining because I drank too much. I kept repeating it inside, but the stains grew bigger and bigger as if it was teasing me. Although I was sweating on my back, it was still chilly inside the elevator. And the moment I looked at the light and then looked straight front this time, I couldn't help but doubt my eyes. There, I could see a person's hand reflected on my back.
What the fuck?
Seriously? I was the only one in this elevator. After having confidence that there's an unknown thing that exists here, I was seized with
Get the fuck out of the
extreme fear.
elevator.
The time to go up to the 16th floor was like an eternity. I couldn't hold my fear back. I eventually pressed the button to get off the 14th floor. I was about to pop out as soon as the door opened, but I had to stop suddenly. The girl I saw on the 8th floor was standing there, like she was waiting for me. I felt like my heart was sinking. Shivering, just as I was about to get off, she raised her head slowly. At that moment, I saw it. Unlike before, she was smiling brightly.
Oh
as if her
my
mouth was going
god,
to be
oh
ripped
my,
soon.
oh my, what the?
My mom is here now. I'm going to get in. Mom, what's she talking about? I'm sure the elevator was empty from the basement floor. Besides, not even a small rat was to be seen, let alone a
Hold on, was that fucking hand her mom?
human while I was inside.
What the fuck happened?
Then who is it? I was strained to the limit, and my legs were trembling. I almost pushed the child and ran out of the elevator to the emergency
Get the fuck
stairs.
out of there.
For some
Go
reason,
to a neighbor
I was
or something.
afraid that I'd never see my wife again if I stayed here. I was going up the stairs frantically. Just then, the sensor at the emergency exit started turning on much faster than my speed. It's like someone was already going up. I was about to go insane. When I finally reached the 16th floor, I flung the emergency door open and rushed out of. I turned. I tried to run toward my house, and then someone was standing in front of the house. The woman with incredibly long hair and the girl I saw at the elevator. They were there.
Oh my god.
How the heck did they know my house? I didn't know what was going on right now, but only one thing came to my mind for a moment. I must not go back home now. I barely
I'm too
managed to
scared
turn
now.
back and carefully twisted the
traumatized.
emergency door again. And at that moment, my sweaty hand just slipped and the door clanked in the quiet hallway. The moment I looked into the hallway with a desire to cry, I suddenly heard a sound from the end of the hall. It was the sound of a woman's shoes and baby shoes. I pushed the
Too
emergency
scared.
exit
So
door.
I'm just watching something else.
While
I'm
I
just
ran
trying-
frantically downstairs, I could
I'm
hear the
gonna
shoe
look at my
sounds
wall.
behind me at regular intervals. Almost rolling over myself, I went down through the front door and then rushed into the lighted security office. However, the security guard was just patrolling his round at that time, so he was not there. I lifted my trembling body and looked at the front door through the small window in the front.
No, I'm just gonna.
And at that moment, I felt my legs weaken. A woman and a child didn't come out of the front door,
You know, I'm
but
just.
they were
gonna-
glaring at me
What
fiercely,
the fuck?
as if they were going to kill me. I was about to scream, but just then, the guard came into the office.
Oh,
He
thank
got
God.
surprised to see me trembling and asked me what was going on. I tried to explain by pointing my hand at the front door, but then I realized that there was no one. Eventually, the security guard came to my house with me. To my surprise, my wife, who thought she was asleep already, was waiting for me with the lights on. And what my wife told me was a surprise itself. She said that someone
gonna
rang
count
our
the amount of money I
doorbell
have in
when
my
I was
wallet
seeing
because
the
I'm too
woman and
scared.
kid in front of my house. My wife thought it was me out there, so she walked to the front
I don't
door
have a
and
lot of
opened it.
money, guys.
But
so-
then she felt something wasn't right, because whenever I came home late at night after dinner, I always acted more carefully instead of ringing the bell. So my wife turned on the intercom and looked out, but there was no one. And when she returned to her seat, the bell rang again, and the same situation repeated, on and on. So this time she was looking closely at the screen when the moment the bell rang without putting down the phone. And there was the face of the woman who filled the screen to the full.
fuck?
At first, it's like someone was sticking her face on the screen intentionally.
I don't want to
But when my wife looked
I don't wanna
closely,
look.
her face looked so pale, as if it were dead already. She urgently turned on all the light right away and tried to call the administration office. However, the guard didn't answer because he was just on patrol and at that time. And I was running downstairs like crazy. When my wife saw the intercom screen again, it was already gone. The next day's morning, I went to the security office to check the elevator CCTV, and I couldn't keep my mouth closed for a while in a panic. On CCTV, I could see that I was waiting for the elevator on the first floor.
It was sort of
I
like
step inside. Nothing happened at first. However, I suddenly started to press the buttons from 5th to 8th floors as if I were possessed by something. There was literally no one on the 7th floor, but I screamed into the air, and when the door opened on the 8th floor, I murmured something and then pressed the door's button to open. I pointed at the CCTV and said something and then finally pressed the close button. Furthermore, I was gazing on the elevator lights for a while. Then I suddenly pressed the button on the 14th floor and ran out. So that means I was doing something really weird by myself. The CCTV on the front door also captured only me. No one came out. The guard laughed at me and my wife, saying that we saw imaginary things. But the feelings I felt at that moment were so real. It was so vivid. Who the heck were that woman and the child?
Oh my God.
Still, I have no idea.
What the fuck? Okay, yeah, yeah, there's a lot more, but I'm not gonna be reacting to these. Instead, what the hell? Alright, yeah. Instead, you guys are gonna tell me what I should watch. Now, if you guys love this reaction video, like and subscribe.